All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started with Coach Traylor. JJ.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Doing great, JJ. Good morning.
After the game on Saturday, you said you felt like it was the most complete performance. Is that what you saw on film?
Yes, it was. The opening drive, we went down there and scored. That crowd was fantastic. They were very energetic. They got them going. And our defense was just so dominant. One of the plays of the game was probably Corey, on the flea flicker early in the game. He kind of got a couple steps behind him. He maintained his composure, was very calm, played through the ball, was very confident, and kind of got us off the field there. If they would have scored, it'd been interesting to see how that game turns out because momentum is so big in football and our home crowd being in the game. So, yeah, we were really good on all three phases, and that's the first time all year we've really done that.
Greg.
Jeff, what was Sunday's team meeting like? What was the players' reaction to being ranked for the first time in school history?
Well, obviously, we're going to talk about it because we got to know how to handle you guys. So you're going to ask us about it, right? So we got to know how to answer the question. And, it's a fine line, Greg. We want to be humans. We want to have fun and enjoy stuff too. But at the same time, how many hours are we spending on stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the Louisiana Tech game? You got to be very careful. And from monitoring your social media to media requests to everything, all of us as players and coaches have to balance that fine line of how much we enjoy it versus how much we're studying Louisiana Tech. And those kids are on the second part of their semester right now. They're getting their midterm grades last week. So it's always a balance.
Are the older players in the group handling it any differently from the younger players? I'm curious what it's like with some guys who have been through some down years there versus some guys who are just coming into college football.
Well, not only just that, it's just, our young guys are spoiled. All they know is us and winning. And, we recruited them and we know their families. We've been around them for a long time. Those older guys they've seen it both ways, right? They've been in the dark side, the downside where you're not winning and it's not fun and no one's coming to the games. And that's ugly. That's not fun. And so our older players, I really encourage them to teach, remind these young guys of what it used to be like here. And so we don't want to go back to that. We want to keep it like we got it going. And we're not so naive to believe we're going to win every game for the rest of our time here. At some point, hopefully not for a long time, the other team's going to have more points than us. And that's just part of this dig, and we understand that.
Chase.
Yeah, Coach, I know you mentioned not eating the cheese and not being focused too much and wrapped up on rankings and things like that. But for these older guys that have been on the other side of this, as a reward, to see their name, to see UTSA Roadrunners number 24, UTSA Roadrunners number 25, up there with a lot of the guys that have been there for decades. How rewarding is this for all the hard work they put in?
Well, for them, obviously I want those guys to be happy and be glad they chose to come play for us and be proud and all that. But it's a much bigger picture when it comes to those national rankings. It's boosters, it's fans, it's your administration, it's recruits, it's perception, it's national perception, not just local perception, not just Texas perception. And that's what really helps, because then we have a chance to make this thing last a lot longer than just one season. Because let's be honest, it takes money to get all this done. It takes a lot of just that money to get a program to last for a long time, because there's just so many needs that players need to be successful. And that's what's so exciting about it is there's a lot of alumni we have out there that are looking to give towards something they believe in. And the more success you give people, the more belief they have in you.
Back to you, Greg.
Jeff, if you heard a player or a coach or equipment guy or anybody in the building talk about an undefeated season and the possibility of that, what would your reaction be?
Culture pillar violation. Greg and JJ will write you up in their next article or their next interview. Win the day, baby. I mean, let's just stay where we were. December 9, 2019, when y'all first saw this dork take the stage and start blowing out a bunch of culture talk, and y'all were all going, what in the heck have we done hiring this high school guy coming in here sounding like Stephen Covey, John Gordon combo? We want a football coach, not a freaking culture guy. What have we done here? Same conversation, man. Win the freaking day. Let's be the best JJ and Greg and Chase we can be today. And we'll worry about tomorrow, right? That's what I tell them. And I know y'all get tired of hearing it, but that's my story, and I'm still sticking to it.
It's been interesting through the year to hear you talk about how honest you are with the guys with some of these different matchups, like with Memphis, the team speed that you focused on with them, and maybe some of the things where you match up well and not so well. Do you believe that UTSA is one of the 25 best college football teams in the nation right now?
I believe we've got Louisiana Tech Saturday. They're a really good football team. They're great at home. Skip Holtz has done a fantastic job with that program for years. They're a program we want to model. They've been successful for a long, long time, and they're really good in Ruston. You don't want to play those guys there. Right now, you want to play those guys on the road. Unfortunately, we drew them on a Saturday night. We're their little homecoming moms, and they'll have that place rocking Saturday night.
JJ.
Jeff, on Saturday after the game, you said I asked you about just the historic start of this season. You said it was kind of crazy. I wanted to just ask you if you could expand on that a little bit more. Just what's made it so unique to start the season?
Because it's literally what I dreamed of. I mean, it's what we wanted so bad, right? I mean, Kevin Brown and I have been talking about this for a long time. The diehard Roadrunner fans, the ones that have been there from the beginning. It's what we all wanted. And we all, Saturday, all of us, no matter what anybody says, goes, wow, this is really happening. This is happening right before our eyes. And we're grateful. And we understand we have a lot left to do. We're nowhere near where we want to be. And I know I say this all the time, but we're a whole lot closer today, JJ, than we were yesterday.
Greg.
Jeff, UTSA has never won on Louisiana Tech. You touched on that. Is that a benchmark you guys recognize and care about and have talked about as a group?
Our guys know it, and I don't have to tell them. They already know it. So we understand how hard it is to win there. They're a very, very proud program. Years and years of tradition. Bunch of different coaches, bunch of different players, decades of winning. One of my great quarterbacks, Luke McCowan, he played there for Jack Bignell. Pete Carmichael was his quarterback coach, who's now the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. They've been good for a long, long time. And I used to go there in the 90s. Those guys were as instrumental in teaching me football as anybody. I mean, Pete Carmichael was told the same screens that Skip's running right now. They were running those things in the 90s. They've been a throw it team, really good at screen game, throw it all over the yard. That's what those guys are used to. And I was lucky. One of my quarterbacks, I said, Luke, started there 4 years. And so I got to watch those guys up close and personal. I went to a lot of their games because of Luke. And, man, their fan base is very into the ball game, and they'll be rocking it Saturday night.
Do you think that those guys and really all the other teams you'll face the rest of the way will approach a matchup against UTSA any differently because you guys are ranked? Does that change anything?
Yeah, we're not the hunter anymore. We're the hunted. That's a totally different deal. And we're going to get everybody's best shot. So whatever y'all are watching in Louisiana Tech, whatever game they're playing the best, whatever game they're playing the hardest, that's what we're going to see Saturday night.
Hector.
Hey, Coach. Morning.
Good morning, Hector.
As subjective as rankings are, whether we like them or not, they mean something. Do they mean anything beyond to you guys specifically beyond the fact that the coaches and media members who can vote think that you're one of the 25 best teams in the country?
Yeah, it's a bigger version though to me because it's free advertisement, right? You can't get that. You can't pay for that, and that's huge. because everybody in the country is talking about us, which helps with boosters. It helps administration. It helps your fan base. It helps recruiting. It just helps in the bigger scheme. I want this to be, we want this thing to be something that lasts forever, not a blip in the radar. Historically, in our seasons here, we've been up and down program. We've had our moments and we've gone away. We've had our moments and we've gone away. Where we're having a moment right now, Hector. I don't want to go away. And it takes funding. And people are going to believe in this more when you give them success. And the more funding you have, the better chance you have of making this thing last, because your kids have better stuff. You have more personnel. There's a reason those guys win every single year at those levels. They've got it deep in the recruiting department, strength staff, their nutritional meals. It's made to last. And we're a new, and national rankings help because more people want to be a part of it. Everybody loves to win, right? When you win, there's enough for everyone, Hector. When you lose, there's never enough for anyone.
Coach, I remember when you first came on, sitting down with you and we talked expectations, and you said, look, I'm not going to go down the number of wins and things along those lines. Had somebody said to you back then, a little more than halfway through your second year, your program's going to be nationally ranked in both polls, what would your reaction have been?
Your dreams should always be so large that your prayer life has to match it. So when your dreams come true, God can get the credit, not a human. That's what I'd say back to you.
Greg?
Jeff, you guys have forced a lot of turnovers this season, and we saw that especially against Rice, that were pretty effective in that way. What has been the key of the defense forcing so many takeaways this year?
Great players. They're fast. They're physical. They believe in our coaching staff. Coach Lepp and Coach Wright do a great job putting those kids in position, but it always starts with the players. They practice a certain way. They bust their tails every day for me. Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. And that's our goal every day, is to blow that, tighten that up, and try to be better today than we were yesterday. Just win the day, baby.
Do you believe that there's any kind of a luck factor in turnovers, whether it's, being able to get on top of fumbles or the ball bouncing the right way, or do you guys create all those situations by the way that you play?
I definitely believe that luck favors the better athlete that plays hard. That's what I've seen in my life. The better my teams were, the luckier we were. And the worse we were, the more unlucky we were. But yeah, sometimes luck is involved, but it favors the better athlete that plays hard.
JJ?
Jeff, how would you, grade how your offense played this past week, coming off that, big WKU?
It's a great question. It wasn't as good as Western Kentucky, but I don't know that you'll ever play that good again in your career. Those moments don't come around very often. I'd give us a B plus probably. The 2, 3 and outs bothered me at midfield. That bothers me. It's kind of, you had a great chance to put them away, but how great was our opening drive? How great was our 2-minute drive? There's a lot of things. So B plus probably is where I'd give it. Not up to our standard, but as good as our defense is, that performance would be good enough for us to win most Saturdays.
And then going back to the defense, you guys are facing an opponent this week that likes to fling it around. And if that's one area that's been a little concerning this season, just what are your thoughts on facing another pass-happy team?
That's very fair. I would agree with that assessment as well. We've worked hard at getting better at that, JJ, and we have gotten better. Those guys are going to make plays. I never have a problem with that. It's when we bust that I can't stand that. That means we've got too much on our kids when we're miscommunicating. And we really, really cleaned that up. But it is an area that obviously Coach Holtz is a very good coach. He's going to see that, and he's going to attack us, and we know that. They've got 4 very good receivers that already have over 200 yards receiving between the 4 of them. Each one of them have 200 each. They're right around 300 yards a game. They're really good too. That guy can go. They've got a good quarterback. It's just which team are you looking at? And when you see them play, you're going, Jiminy Cricket. These guys are really good. So we know we're going to get the Jiminy Cricket version Saturday night.
Greg?
Jeff, what did it mean Saturday to get to see BJ Daniels get a chance to play some meaningful snaps, to contribute and score a touchdown, even with how long he's been in the program and what he's brought here?
That's a great question. What a great kid, man. I mean, I have so much respect for him, Dominic, in Mississippi. Those guys fully came back knowing they were backups and were committed to raising the culture here to the expectations. And man, those older guys have done that for me. We're not just a fun team to watch in the game. We're a fun team to watch warm up. We're a fun team to watch on the sideline. Our kids really are into each other. And that's because of older kids like Billy and Dom and Sip meaning Jalen Galmore, and Billy meaning BJ, and Dom meaning Dominic. Sorry, I love nicknames, right? That's the country. I guess, I don't know. But man, I'm so happy with those older kids that they believed in us and came back, and they're getting to have some success along the way.
How did BJ become Billy? This one I want to hear.
I don't even know. It might not. I don't even know what the B stands for. I hope it's Billy. If not, I just made something up again. Never let the facts get in the way of a good story, JJ.
I try to do that when I can, but that's a whole other conversation.
Check me on that because I don't know what does the B stand for. Somebody, Kyle, bail me out.
BJ's first name is William.
Well, that's close enough to Billy.
So
that works. I'll take it. All right. And when you were having those conversations with him about coming back, what was sort of the mood there, or what were sort of his thoughts on that, given that it was going to be kind of a fight for playing time? How did that all come together?
He told me he was having so much fun playing here. He'd do whatever I asked him to do. And he just said, whatever you need me to do, coach. And he plays about 25 snaps a game on special teams. It's a off job as our off returner. They don't ever kick it to him over there. Most guys kick the ball to the off returner. I don't think people want to kick it to Billy.
What was the process really from the start of fall camp to now for him to rise to be number 2 on the depth chart? I know you guys have had some injuries there, but it would have figured that there'd be a lot of guys in front of him.
Steady performance. He's just steady. He protects the quarterback well. He's strong. He's a different kind of back. And obviously the injury to Brendan Brady helped him get out there a little bit quicker. And, when you produce at that position, when you block, you run, and you catch, you're a running back. There are 3 aspects of the game. Sometimes people forget about the blocking and the catching, but Bill does all 3 things well.
JJ.
Jeff, I wanted to ask you about Brandon Brown. We noticed he got the start this week. What did he have to do to get into that position?
He just plays every day. I tease him. His nickname is Thud. His very first time, we're going in spring ball. I love Brandon. I love all my kids, but Brandon's just one of those sweet kids that's meaner than a rattlesnake. He has a beautiful smile, but man, when it's turned between the lines, he goes, right? And we're in Thud, and Sincere McCormick, his first carry of spring, and Brandon just crushes him and tackles him to the ground. And I'm like, Brandon, do you know what Thud means? And he's like, I'm sorry, coach, I forgot. I'm like, this is the leading returning rusher in the country, and you just tackled him live. So since that day, he is known officially as Brandon Thud Brown.
Is it surprising to have a new starter in a position like that, this deep into the season?
He's steady. He shows up every day. We don't look at him like that, right? We've got starters and starters. We have our A's and our ones. Look at it. It's one thing for a coach to say that. Our video shows that. We play our players. We sub them and play them. And I've told y'all since the day one when y'all were so probably crushed that y'all hired me that my quarterback, we won't rotate those guys. And want to rotate our linemen. We've even violated that. We've played a ton of linemen because we've had to. You just don't like to, and corners, you'd like to not do that much. But everybody else, you'd like to rotate them and make everybody on your team believe they are a starter. They're gonna buy in better. The locker room is going to be better. Our freshness is going to be better. I think we'll play better late in the year. We'll stay healthier. Like I've already mentioned this once, JJ, we're going on a 20-game streak here with no open week. But I would challenge y'all to find a moment where y'all didn't think we played hard. We show up every week. I'm not saying we play beautiful every week, but we show up every week with our effort and our passion.
Jeff, you mentioned Sincere McCormick. We saw him break loose for a career high 81-yard rush there. How good does it feel for him to, have a big game like that?
Well, in the moment, it was huge. We just gotten a crushing penalty. We had a great punt return, and it was a good call. I mean, I didn't think it was live, but I watched the video, and they were exactly right. We made a terrible mistake on that Ranger unit, our punt return team, and Sticks had a great return. And now you're backed up, I don't know, correct me here, probably 5 or 6 yard line. That's not ideal when you just got a lead, had a great return, you got a chance to put them away. And then Sincere, man, just they misfit that thing on outside zone. He hit it, and that was a great, great run at a great time. One of my favorite things about it is watching our sideline, man. You think our kids aren't into each other? Go back and watch that run. Watch how our linemen are celebrating behind him as he's running. I mean, it was awesome how much our kids love each other. And to watch that defensive group come off their bench onto the sideline, just cheering him on down the sideline. Caleb Cantrell got so excited. He thought we scored and ran out there trying to snap the dadgum ball, and we couldn't go turbo. We're trying to go turbo, and Caleb's on the field. I'm like, what in the heck is going on out here? So my ingenious deep snapper went out there and got too much passion. Culture pillar violation there, Caleb Cantrell. Too much passion.
Okay, Greg.
Jeff, it seemed like in that game, Zachary Franklin seemed to be a little more mobile, like a little more comfortable compared to last week. What's sort of the process of him? How far along is he in his recovery?
I agree with that, Greg. He did move around better to me. I think for the first time, he's going to be we hope to get him back out there so we can get some more balls to 4.
You cut out a little bit in the middle there. I think you were saying you expect him to be 100%. It seemed like that's where you were headed with that sentence.
I don't think 100 would be accurate, but I think he's going to be able to practice. I hope so. That would be the first time he's practiced in probably 6 weeks. And we can just get him more in the game plan when he's at practice. And I hope so. I know the injury report looked good yesterday. I haven't seen our training staff yet today. We'll meet on that. And I really hope he's out there tomorrow.
Okay, anything else for Coach Traylor this morning? All right, thanks everyone.
Appreciate y'all, man. God bless. Birds up.